tuned to the conversation on Lagos Television, and today we'll be discussing a sensitive matter: practical strategies to conflict resolution in relationships. Now, conflict is an inevitable part of any relationship, whether it's romantic, familial, professional. Disagreements and misunderstandings are mutual. However, it is how we handle them that truly defines the strength of our connections. Joining us on the conversation today is the reconciler, Olufunke Ige, and she'll be sharing with us practical strategies to navigate through conflict. Thank you for joining us on the conversation.
I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, talking about conflict, from your experience, what are the major causes of conflict in relationship? How can one identify the root cause so that when you're trying to handle this, you don't just deal with the symptoms, but you go down and deal with the root cause?
Okay. Before I answer your question, I would love to really talk about what conflict really is. It's a serious disagreement, and usually a protracted one, a lengthy one at that, right? And why would we have a long time of disagreement? Usually there is that understanding that when we disagree, it's more like, oh, I'm talking about my idea, you're talking about your opinion, and then we just do not want to marry that opinion, right? And we disagree. But there should be, okay, what exactly are you saying? What are you doing? So you are able to avoid conflict. Like I said, it's a serious disagreement, right, that is lengthy, that is prolonged. You both go on your own, you don't talk about it, you don't want to talk about it, and usually you hear words like, give it time, it will resolve itself. No conflict ever resolve itself. It's the people that started it that will definitely resolve it.
So it's or like sweeping it under the carpet.
Yes, and if you keep sweeping under the carpet will break up one day. You know, it will just be that you're bottled up, you're angry, and so it has actually affected relationships because conflict happen between two people or more people. It could be social, it could be, as long as relationship exists, you know, once we relate, we'll likely have a way to just want to air our opinion concerning a matter that concerns both of us. Then because I do not agree with you, then a problem might just come up from there. So that is what I will definitely talk about. Then talking about the practical ways of conflict. Understand that conflict is not entirely bad, right? It is not entirely, oh, this is wrong, I just want to avoid, you know, I just want to avoid. But you are wired to have conflict. You're also wired to resolve it, right? Because we all have brains. So you don't want to say that you're a dummy. That is why you do not actually want to agree with the other person. But when you understand that as much as you're not a dummy, the other person is also not a dummy. So can we both come together and then let's talk about it? Let us hear each other's opinion. So one of the major things that really causes conflict and also can help to, when you don't have it, causes conflict, but when you have it, will help to resolve conflicts is being an effective communicator. You must be able to communicate effectively. What does it mean to communicate? You know, I'm talking to you, you understand. If you don't understand, you definitely ask me questions. So I should not be angry that you're asking me more questions because you want to know, you want to understand what I am saying. So one of the ways to communicate effectively is being able to ask questions and making your thoughts clear. You can even go another level, say, do you understand what I am saying? Teachers are effective communicators. You know, they teach, they can teach over and over till everyone in the class understands that together. So teachers whose students raise their hands to say, I have a question, should not be angry because this child wants to know. Wants to learn more. You are impacting
GPS
knowledge.
Signal lost.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Can I?
It's fine.
Yeah. Sorry. Can I just turn it off?
You can give it to him. Let him do that for you.
It was practically off. I didn't know it came on. So on that other hand, you know, you're trying to impact knowledge. So same way, you must always be ready to listen. to someone, you must be ready to listen as much as you want the other person to listen to you. So if you are able to express yourself, you can communicate effectively. That will reduce conflict at various minimum. You might even hardly just have anyone. And if there is any, you'll be well positioned.
Okay,
right.
So
I have a follow-up to what she has talked about. You have highlighted, communication as, one of the forms of, solving conflict. And you also said that, some people like to just sweep things under the carpet. What happens to a particular person who just never wants to communicate for reasons such as, oh, I don't want to add more problems to what already is on ground, or I just like to leave it the way it is, and that is who they are. So how do conflicts now get resolved because of people's personality?
People's personality is based on their exposure over time, their experience over time, right? It's not just exactly, oh, this is where I am, this is where I'm created. We are all created like we all have a clean slate. So your experience of people over time, right from birth, from the nurse that nursed you, your mother, your father, or your guardian, whatever your background, formed the personality. And this is being formed from their own opinions, their own ideas. For example, probably you have parents who always encourage you, right? So when you see people, you just see that it's normal for me to encourage someone else. But imagine if you do not have solid self-esteem, you don't have that kind of background.
Yes.
So you are probably dealing with low self-esteem and you don't even know.
Yeah.
So you just, oh, this person, I'm just an introvert. No one is really an introvert. You have a mouth to speak. And there's just always a way to speak that people would definitely listen to you. So there is a personal work that must be done on that person. Check yourself. Why am I really avoiding conflict? Is it so that you don't want people to nail you? Is it so that you feel that
society?
The society,
our culture,
the culture, and even gender. Sometimes as a woman, you can't speak. You can speak out. Or you're not meant to question. You're meant to, and even there are men. We have the male gender too. Depending on your position, even in the family, if you are the last, you can't say a word. You are the last born. What do you know? Who are you? Especially when you have the very wide age gap, that you're almost calling your firstborn daddy. Do you understand? So all these things, they are not your personality. It's what just the society has actually imposed. So there must be an intentional finding of yourself. Because somehow, somewhere, you probably have this emotional tummy hurt, your heart, when you see that person, your heart skip beats, and all of that, you are not at peace. So it's not peace when you keep quiet. So I just want peace to reign. Peace is not reigning. As a matter of fact, you are cooking, you are adding more fire to the conflict on ground. So rather, look at the personalities involved. How then do I speak to this person? When exactly do this person have the listening ear to listen? Then you are able to help. Oh, you can even start like, I would really love to understand what you meant, concerning what exactly are you saying? So when you have a position of listening to this other person, this person is able to speak, but you must, so another thing is active listening. So you must be able to listen actively, and this is what I'm actually explaining here. So you say, oh, I want to hear you. What exactly are you saying? While you are listening, don't begin to remember the points that you have to talk about. You did this. You did this. When you're doing that, you're not listening to the other person. So at the end of the day, but the person is done talking, you go all over again. Then you keep being in circles. So people want to resolve conflicts without, they don't know how. they don't know how, so they always get it wrong at the end of this. So it looks like what's an issue that is just something little becomes.
So this will take me back again to my first question. So you said people want to resolve conflict, but they don't know how. And my question is, how can you identify conflict triggers? There are conflict triggers. And from your experience, what are the things that you have seen, the cases that you have handled?
Okay.
Because sometimes it can be very funny that the thing that is causing so much trouble can be as insignificant as toothpaste. You're pressing the toothpaste here, you're pressing it here. Yeah. Do you understand? So how can one identify conflict triggers, and what are the the cases that you have handled? Mr. Costa.
I've handled a lot, because it's relationships. So it's not even just marriage alone. When it comes to sibling, you have sibling rivalry. You have employee to boss, or even employee to employee, and all of that. One of the conflict triggers is not being able to manage your emotions. When you're not emotionally intelligent, you will not understand that the person you're passing this aggression to has nothing to do with it. For example, the example of toothpaste that you mentioned right now might just really not be the reason for the cause of that argument. Probably the man or the woman already had issues at work, and is just still trying to think about that. And in a relationship, especially maybe in marriage, you've not even discussed with your spouse that, oh, I experienced this last week or yesterday, and all of that. And your spouse just came up and said, honey, but why did you press? And probably what you experienced at work was more like a blame thing also. And then so you're experiencing blame. So you are triggered immediately. That's a triggering event. So you are triggered immediately. What do you mean? Why would you say that? Just the best. Some are fought just on spoon, on food, expenses, now that the nation, people are spending a lot.
Cost of
and then, but I gave you so last week. Maybe you should go to the market yourself. And then, what do you mean? I should go to the market? So you understand the altercations and all of that. So triggers can come from anywhere. So if you are not emotionally intelligent, you might not be able to understand that this is not the person that made me feel this the way I felt the other time. So I think understanding how to navigate your emotions, understanding that emotions are data, it is not the end result, it is not the conclusion for you to act on. If I feel sad, I don't have to be sad all day. I don't have to see you and feel sad. I don't have to. I should ask myself, why am I sad? So there is something I will call self-awareness. You must be aware of yourself, so you don't model up your relationships. Someone else receiving what another person did, just passing aggression,
Okay. So what are some? Can you give me some practical steps, couples, can take, in managing conflict?
Okay, you mentioned couples, so I will just go straight to that. One thing about couples is that there must be an understanding that why this marriage. Many go into marriage and say, you are you, I am me. Marriage is two people coming together. So it's a team. It's a lifelong journey that you have a companion, you have a team with you. And one thing about teams is basically you're on the same side.
But excuse me, but there's sometimes where a couple are in a marriage and it just doesn't feel like that. Maybe one person just doesn't feel like that anymore because of what the other party is doing.
Yes. I was just talking about team. One of the things that would make us know we are on the team is that we have the same purpose, we have the same goal, we have something to achieve. You're bringing your idea to the table. I am hugging that, I am embracing that, and I'm bringing my idea. I'm not saying you're a dummy, I am embracing it. That means we are marrying our ideas together. That is what it is. But in the situation where you just mentioned, the other person doesn't like what the other person is doing, there is something called communication. Marriage that really wants to thrive must have the foundation of communication. And communication not being that it has to be one way. You should give allowance for feedback. You should give allowance for what do you say concerning this. You should give allowance for we have this project. What do you think? Should we go ahead? You know, you might really save yourself a lot of stress when you know that it is not only you. Unfortunately, you know, there's just that responsibility that hangs so much on the man. And the man is crying, weeping inside. He's got invisible hunchback that he can't even say that I have this burden. I need you to care for me. I need you to share with you. But maybe the lady just, well, yeah, the man just keep saying it, keep doing it, but the man needs help. He needs to, because if he could do it alone, even if he has company, how come he has secretary? How come he has people helping him do the job? So same thing with marriage. So there must be a coming together. There must be communication. Honey, I felt da. I don't think this is what you mean. What exactly? Okay, when you did this, I wasn't. There's a way to hear your opinion without bottling up. So you really have to avoid bottling up. It's just going to be when you shake a carbonated drink over, and by the time you open it, you all know it's soap speaker. So don't bottle up, don't sweep under the carpet. As soon as you recognize it, oh, why am I angry? Do you understand? Why am I sad? Oh, this is, I think this is, address it immediately. Honey, I felt this way. You know, and men or women should always allow for communication. It's, yeah, you've come again. What is the problem? And all of that. And really, if you do it often, you just have little time allotted to resolving conflict or resolving disagreement. It will no longer be conflict.
To just be
because it's no longer prolonged. So it will just be a disagreement, just 2-3 minutes, and then you're done. And then you must be able to believe each other. If he or she says, oh, this is what I believe, those, okay, let's try to take it like that. No, you know, you must trust each other. You trust the love, the genuineness, the friendship must really be there.
Okay. Actually. All right. I also want you to talk about the importance of apologies and forgiveness in resolving conflict, because a lot of people find it difficult to say, I'm sorry. And even when you are told that they are sorry, you find it difficult to believe that they are really sorry and forgive. So I want you to talk about that too.
Okay, I think I just mentioned trusting. One thing why it looks as if sorry or apology has been abused, it's because people tend to repeat what they have apologized for. You know, like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry I did that, I'm not going to do. And they even list it with promise. For those who easily say they're sorry, and then they promise I will not do it again. But you realize that you're doing this again. I'm going crazy. I think I'm going crazy now. You know, the first time you said you're sorry, forgave you, you did it again, and then he or she comes and says, you know, we are humans, it takes time, you know, to really change. Change is constant. I'm working at it. Can't you see I'm working at it and all of that? Hey, if you really want to stop something, you stop it. Actually, for example, you're ill, you went to the clinic and you're given injection. They give you maybe 3 days, you have injection every 6 hours. And once you're done, do you still go back to say, give me an injection? No, then it's gone, it's gone. So same when you say you're sorry, the reason why it's been abused is because there is no genuineness, there is no actionable plan to follow up on that you're sorry, because that is what it really means, that you meant you're sorry. But if you're doing it over and over, this person sees you as being toxic and begins to avoid you. Then there is that you begin to grow apart. You are in the same home, but you are growing apart. So he or she begins, oh, I think this is just how you behave. This is just how you behave. This is, even when you now change, you can see he or she has lost hope. So there is no trust. So that is why it looks as if forgiveness is very hard, because some say they are sorry when they don't mean it, when it's not followed up with actionable plans, when it's not really seen. If you really need help, ask for help. Honey, if I'm doing this, please know that I'm already going on this journey. Just call me back. Do you get? You are to help each other, even in your weaknesses. So yes, so weaknesses should not remain a weakness. If you identify that this is your weakness, then what are the principles that you have, like a guardrail, to help you not to fall into that kind of mistake anymore? So you must be able to sit with that and say, because that is the only way you're sorry is very important. Now, for those who would not even say they are sorry, one, maybe they do not even understand the extent of hurt or damage that is doing to you. So you must then again be able to communicate effectively. This is how I am feeling. You don't have to shout. Most of the time, I might just talk a little bit about the psychology of shouting, right? So you don't have to really shout about all that, the feelings and all of that yet, because you're feeling that way. But can you, at some point, just make that person know how? Let the person know. Have a conversation. This is how deep this is eating me up. I am sad. I am not fine. We are just only smiling for the camera, you know. But I'm not happy in this marriage. This is what is going on. Yeah, let's put it that way. Then maybe they don't understand what sorry can do. And some realize that even if they say sorry, they know that they still have the tendency to do that. So they would not even bother to say it. So when they did not, for them not to apologize, they meant not apologizing.
Because they know they'll fall back.
Because they know they'll fall back. So they've not gotten to that point to break away from that character.
Okay.
Possibly so.
Okay, from your experience, you know, at what point do you think, or one can identify that this couple, they need to seek help?
Oh, at the point where they are losing themselves.
When you say losing themselves, what does that mean?
Yes. First, what I meant by losing yourself is when you don't even know much about yourself, not even your partner. When you realize that you don't even have clarity of the next moment for you, you might have to take a break, because it is someone that is well that can donate blood. So you can't say you want to fix a marriage where you are confused yourself. You can't say you want to be on a journey with someone when you don't even know what your own life should look like, when you don't know what you have in stock. You have no future, you have no purpose, you're living along, and then so many people go on that marital journey and say, okay, I think I'll find fulfillment with my spouse. I think I will, you know. But that is not it. Your spouse is not going to fulfill you. So there must be a life definition of yourself before you can say, okay, now I want to marry, or we're in this marriage, so let's move forward. So they need help. It might first start individually. I want to find myself. What exactly do I want in this life? Maybe will this marriage be able to help me to navigate through that stages of, because marriage is really part of life. You count a lot of years till death to your part. So it's not something, it's not like work you go to, or you want to change, I want to resign, let me go to the next one and all of that. For those who've been through divorce, they will tell you it was traumatic. So why go through that when you can easily prepare for yourself? So I would say that one of the things they need to do is identify who you are first. Then you can now say you want to help your spouse in that regard. I've seen situations where maybe the woman or the man realized that, oh, I need help. He sought help, but left the woman or the man behind. You're supposed to seek that together. Hey, I did this to me, and I think this is what I think I would want for my life. Then jointly for a marriage. Also for you, what do you want? Oh, I think I don't even know. I think you should see so. So there's a way to always, so growing together must be also mutual. So it's important that they must first seek help in that regard.
Okay, you mentioned something, psychology of shouting. I wanted to also talk about that, because sometimes when you bottled up a lot of things, you just want to vent and shout, and they tell you when you shout, when you let it out, you get better. Do we really get better after shouting?
Oh, no. No, because sometimes when you shout, yes, you've said some of the things that you've thought of, and even while you're shouting, the things that are just coming to mind, you just keep talking, and you might regret what you have said. In fact, sometimes my sit down, yeah, I said this, I regret it, you know, I'm sorry for saying it, I didn't even know I could say that, it was da 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 da. So avoid bottling up one. Then the reason why people should have this psychology is because when I'm talking and you're not listening, you are not actively listening, so you're not hearing me, and then you want to respond, you're responding in another way, right? So you're responding in a way that we are on this traffic, we are on this lane, but you are on another lane coming in. I'm like, no, are you listening to me? You are not listening, because I thought you have not listened to me, you've not heard what I'm saying. I would raise my voice so that you could hear, because there is an imaginary war between both of us. So I thought I'm speaking to the person on the other side of the fence. Can you hear? So you would raise your voice, because the person is not responding to what you're saying. Do you understand? And then the other person might also shout in that same manner, or feeling insulted. How could you raise your voice at me? And so it becomes a battle of that. So there is that thought that you are not hearing me, you can't hear me. So I would want to raise my voice so that you can hear me. You know, sometimes when you're even with a microphone, you realize that people are still shouting into the microphone. Because they thought you're not hearing, or in case you're sleeping, they want to wake you up. Listen to me. So you are calling for attention. You're calling for a listening here. You're calling for active communication, you know, a feedback. But the person is not giving the right feedback. So if you, let me hammer it, let me shout. But unfortunately, you do more harm to yourself.
That's not the right path to.
That's not the right path. You say the things that you likely regret. And words are powerful. Person might not forget. Might not forget, especially how you really make them feel when you're saying, especially when they feel less of themselves, you've done a lot of harm. And yeah, they might still be in a relationship with you, they might love, but it will take a long time to really get them back on the track that it used to be. And in case you have used the shouting strategy, maybe it only gave you immediate response. But over time, you realize that the relationship has not been restored towards, it's because of that shout.
Okay. So how can a couple address reoccurring conflicts? You know, this type of conflicts keep happening over and over. You know, you address it, it is partially solved. Again, this thing comes up. Again, this thing comes up. So how can it be permanently, you know, resolved?
People run away from being candid, being truthful, being real.
Because most of the conflicts that, you know, a couple have is, oh, she has been doing it, he has been doing it, and I've been, you know, talking about it. Yeah.
They don't have actionable plans. Most of the problems is because a conflict resolution should not end with just, I'm sorry. It should end with, what is the way forward? What is expected of me? What is expected of you? And let everyone take their part. You will avoid reoccurrence. You will. But by the time you get to, I'm sorry, say, okay, then you go, and that's all.
That's it.
You have not resolved it. It will come up again. Because we are human.
So it takes intentional effort.
Intentionality. So you must be intentional when you say you want to resolve conflict. You must be very intentional. This conflict, you know, today we are going to bury it. Sit. It might be very hard. You might have to lock yourself up together and talk about it. Do you really still want this marriage? Yes, I do. Do I want this marriage? Yes, I do. I remember when we were young, you know, how we did and, you know, the sweet memories, let it come in. Talk about the good part of yourselves. Not just because you want to resolve conflict, you say, you're not thinking, you're not this, you're not that, you're not. You're focusing on the person, not the issue.
focusing on the person
not
instead
the
of,
issue.
you know,
The issue.
instead of the issue.
Yes.
Okay.
So sometimes even the sorry is not exactly that. Like, oh, I behaved this, I'm sorry. Not sorry. I am sorry. I am very sorry for doing so and so. Okay, what can we do? How do we go about when you avoid reoccurrence?
Okay, this question, what advice would you have for someone who wants to initiate reconciliation, but the other person, the partner, is not ready or willing to? What advice do you have for that person? How can he or she go about it?
Okay, so you, who wants to go about it? The one that wants to resolve the
Yes, but the other partner is not ready or willing to.
Yes, there are reasons why the other partner might not be ready or willing. He's tired, she's tired, bottled up, this is recurring. He or she just wants to give up at that point in time. You have to give reasons why this person must not give up on you. That means you have to intentionally identify the complaint. Don't blame yourself if you really want to resolve conflict, because the moment you're blaming yourself, then you are descending below the level where you have been.
But what if you are the one at fault?
Yes, I'm sorry, I made you do it. I know it's me.
Yeah.
Yes.
What if you're stating the fact that you
No, sometimes when we say it, we are trying to tell the person that we are really sorry.
Sorry, yes. You know?
Like I said, to be really sorry must be seen in your actions. So, after I'm sorry, I'm the one at fault. Eulogize, praise, give compliment. Be fond of that person. Remember the sweet times and send the messages, you know. That means you must intentionally create memories, sweet memories for yourselves. Sometimes if you look at the chat of husband and wife on WhatsApp, you wonder, are these people married? There's no I love you, or I can't wait to see you, have you gotten there, how are you doing?
I think that happens in,
No, you just when you
in the
change
initial stage.
Are you on your way back? Okay. Buy bread when you're coming.
Yeah, buy bread. What do you want to eat? And all of that. Instead of, oh, I forgot to tell you, you are looking so good today. The matching, the dress, you're looking angelic. You're looking so handsome and all of that. Like this morning, my husband tried on a cap and I said, hey, this my husband is fine, you know. Do you know? And he was just laughing at me. So it's important. It has to do with the level of intentionality. Be humorous as well. I remember in my very early years of my marriage, I've been married for close to 12 years now, right? In the early years of my marriage, I'm so serious. I take life seriously. So sometimes my husband is humorous and then I laugh. My dear, smile.
Relax.
It's not relax. It's not that hard. Do you get it? So I'm always very, maybe because of my work and all of that. So there's this seriousness that comes there. Hang that there. Let's play. Do you understand? So these are the memories that you can always bank on over time. That, honey, I still want to have this moment with you. I am very, very sorry. I got carried away. I got caught up. I am so sorry. Please give me another chance. You have to say it over and over. It's not just one sorry that will do this one. So you must say it over from what they hear and then the actions they begin to see from you. And you must be properly positioned for that. Person over time. It's just, and then give the person time. Time. Don't haunt them. Don't haunt them. Hey, please now, forgive me now. No, just send gifts, send flowers. You remember the love languages. Go ahead and do it.
Okay. You know, for our society, you know, there are myths about everything, and of course, there are myths about conflict resolution, especially in marriages. One of such is, "Eba kejo yin lo sita," you know, leave the man, let him be himself. After some time,
we'll come back.
You will come back. You know, those are some myths. So, what are the other myths you have heard about, and how have you been able to debunk them?
There are lots of myths, a lot. One of it is saying that the husband must just be the major provider.
Being seen as a feminist too.
Yes, yes, is the major provider of the home. I've seen homes where it's the woman. It's the woman, and no one would hear about it. And the man knows, honors his wife. Even family members don't know, but just wonder, how are these people doing? They want to know, but they don't have to, really. Because if you allow the society in your home will not stand.
If you allow the society into your home will not stand.
It will not stand. So when you need help, seek professional help. It will cost you money, yes. But I think on the long run it's better.
Because let's be practical here. When a man has told you that, look, don't go and discuss whatever our marriage with anyone, and you go out to do that, you know, the woman is usually, you know, stuck. So our society plays a major role here in conflict resolution and in marriages.
Yeah. What I would say is this, especially for couples. This is very hard saying, but please, it's real. It's the fact that if you have issues, husband and wife, the last person you want to think about telling these issues are your family members.
Because they will take sides.
Okay.
There is no way they will not take sides. A mediator in conflict resolution for marriage must be one who will not take side.
That's a professional.
A professional must be. Because if you're there, I will tell your mom, I will tell you that you go ahead, the Lord help you. Do you understand? There is no way how their son or their daughter is that worse. They will not throw, they will not. It's still their own. So you must understand that. You must be very smart in that regard. So a professional is who I always, who will not take sides and will definitely say the truth. Very important. Very, very important. So even if the man is saying, let him deal with the reality, that even if you are telling me not to tell anyone, who would you prefer I tell? Oh, your mother. Will your mother be able to tell you the truth? I don't know if maybe one way or the other she has come visiting, I have offended, I don't even know. And she just said, okay, well, she's still a baby, but that then, hey, I said it. So you have more trouble for yourself. More trouble. But if your spouse said, well, I don't want you to go out there, then can we sit and talk about it? So the help I would say both of you should have is being able to resolve conflict. You can go for a course, you can go for a study, you can go, do you understand, for a training on conflict resolution. So anytime you have conflict in your home, settle it. You don't exactly need an outsider, really, if you can do it.
Okay. I think I have one more before we go. Okay. How do, of course, it's also in the marriage. You know, in some marriages, one party is usually more confrontational. You know. So one party is more confrontational than the other. So, and the other one is, you know, the one that runs away from being confrontational. So how does that kind of relationship work when it comes to resolving conflict?
Okay, I mentioned earlier that you should know yourself. And when you're done knowing yourself, know your spouse. So how do you think he or she comes around? How do you think? And you know you just have to resolve. You have to talk about this. But he or she keeps avoiding. Sometimes you can set up a date night. Sometimes you can just set up, you know, honey, I would love to talk to you. I have some things to talk about that is bothering me. Is that? and immediately you're talking about it, he or she wants to, you know, there's just a way to come out. I don't want to talk about, it's just that. Is that and is that why you're there? Well, it's important to me. Do you understand? It's important to me. I just want clarity, you know, and all of that. So it's just a very, you make it sort, you not make it like we have things to talk about.
Make it very
serious. So don't make it so serious and formal. So then that will help this person to come around. Because if you make it so formal, okay, you know, I've had people have their own system. Some will say they have the jury in their home. You know, father sitting they have the jury.
Oh my goodness.
I'm telling you. And you know, that's how they so beautiful, it is working for you. Fantastic.
Find what works
that means
for
you understand your own personality and then that of your spouse. But for the personalities that you just mentioned, one is confidential, the other one, the one that is confidential should know how to do it subtly. Do you get it? And then this other person that even avoids, you would realize that he or she is in conflict resolution, not knowing their conflict resolution. So there's a way to call for a meeting without necessarily calling for the meeting.
I was going to say,
approach.
You should, you know, leave a word of advice just for 1 minute to married couples.
For married couple out there, marriage is sweet. Don't think otherwise. Remember that bad news spread faster. So you might hear a lot of things out there, but your marriage is unique. Your spouse is unique. You are unique. Find your unique way of growing your marriage, of making your marriage a model for others to copy. Good marriages still exist. And of course, if you know you need help, you need training, go all out for it. Successful marriage do not just stand on prayer alone. It stands on intentionality. Get trained, get ready, and enjoy your marriage.
I like that. Successful marriage doesn't stand on prayer alone. It stands on intentionality. It takes a lot of work. Thank you so much, Olufunke Ige, for joining us on the conversation. She has been talking about practical strategies for conflict resolution in relationships. I hope you've been able to learn a few things, you know, from all that we have discussed today here in the studio. The conversation continues after the short break. Stay with us.